Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our latest episode in the ongoing, quite lengthy at this point, series on the laws of the game. My name's Craig Anderson. As usual, I'm joined by legal expert Euan Taylor.
Hello, Craig.
And we are on to Law 16. And Law 16 is the goal kick. In keeping with many of these other ones, it's not necessarily going to be the most complicated or the longest one. I'm not sure you will learn loads here, but I suspect there'll be one or two things that might come as a bit of a surprise at least. So I think it's got an introduction where it tells you about what the goal kick is, which is it's awarded when the whole of the ball passes over the goal line on the ground or in the air. Always important to remember that. After having last touched a player of the attacking team. If a goal's not scored, it's clearly not a goal kick if it's a goal. And then it's telling you can score directly from a goal kick, but only against the opposing team. You can't score an own goal from a goal kick. Now, obviously, traditionally, that was self-evident since the ball had to leave the box before a goal kick could be taken anyway. So the only theoretical way that could happen, which I remember a game being abandoned at one point in the 90s. I remember watching the footage of it where goal kicks were getting taken and they were being blown back over the goalkeeper's head with a strong wind, which is, I guess, the only feasible way that it could just leave the box and then be gusted all the way back in. But now within the advent of, I think at the elite level of football, I'm going to say 40 to 50% of goal kicks are actually taken backwards at this point, often by a defender to a goalkeeper or vice versa. So the chance of one accidentally going into your own net has probably never been higher. But if that did happen, it would be a corner and not a goal.
You'd have to. I suppose there's always the risk of the scrambling, panicking goalkeeper that ends up like fumbling it into the net and then is a goal. Yes. Whereas if you just left it, then it wouldn't be.
Yeah, I don't think clarity of mind is what is going to happen at that stage if you've messed up a short goal kick.
You'd have to. You basically have to just listen to this podcast before going onto the pitch to have the confidence. I think that's definitely not a goal, is it? If it goes in, so
it's a bit like, I think, and we talked about it on the throw-in before. I think it's like if you're a defender and a throw-in has sailed directly, a big long throw has bounced, not touched anyone, and you're on the line. I don't think any defender is stepping out the way of that ball. So I can definitely imagine them trying to clear it and touching it on the way in. And in the era of VAR, you will not get away with that.
Indeed.
Right, so on to the procedure for a goal kick. The ball must be stationary and can be kicked from any point within the goal area. So anywhere in the 6-yard box you can take a goal kick from. I think at some point there used to be a bit of I don't know if it was ever a written or an unwritten rule that it kind of got taken at the side it went out of, and the goalkeepers were kind of to do that. That is definitely not the case. Just anywhere in the 6-yard box that you fancy. It's in play when it's kicked and it clearly moves. So again, it used to be it wasn't in play until it left the penalty area, but another probably fairly positive move in terms of just getting the game moving is just kick it and it's live. But the opposing team must be outside the penalty area until the ball is in play. So defenders can be in there, but the outfielders can't be. Nothing new there. What offences and sanctions around this? If the ball's in play, the kicker touches the ball again before it's touched another player, then it's an indirect free kick. So if you take a goal kick and then do it again, maybe in one of those mad scramble situations, you accidentally try and pass it sideways and then run after it and slide tackle it. That is a free kick would be awarded. An indirect free kick would be awarded if you kick the ball in that situation. If you are, if you handle the ball, so if you kick the ball, it's an indirect, or any other part of your body, it's an indirect free kick. If you handle the ball, it is a direct free kick. If it's outside the area,
that's ever been given, I wonder.
So that's outside area, and inside the area it would be a penalty if you are an outfielder, but an indirect free kick if you're the goalkeeper, because you'll be allowed to handle the ball in your box, apart from it being not allowed for some other reason. So I do not imagine this is something that I think you'll go through a full season of top flight football in Europe and this won't happen. It's not something I think, but I'm presumably somewhere out there in some reaches of football every weekend it will happen, whether it's like under 14s in Portugal or, you know, oldies football in Brazil. You never know. It will happen, but it's rare. This is the sort of reason why the referees have to do exams and stuff on this, because it's like it only has to happen once and you only have to get it wrong once for it to be a disaster. Also why the VAR room has a book of the laws of the game in it at every table. And if when a goal kick is taken, any opposing players are inside the penalty area because they didn't have time to get out, so obviously you're not allowed to go into the area, but if you're leaving the area as it's taken, then the ref will allow play to continue. So if you're like wandering back after a thing and they try to take a quick goal kick, that's allowed. If a player who hasn't left the area yet touches the ball after it's kicked before they leave the area, it's a retake. So you can imagine that scenario where a guy's leaving the box, maybe a corner gets swung in, headed wide, the goalkeeper scrambles to take a quick goal kick and maybe blasts it off an attacking player who is leaving the area. That would be a retake. The attacking player couldn't then turn around and smash it into the net. Well, they could smash it into the net, just wouldn't be a goal. If you enter the penalty area before the ball was in play and commit a foul or are fouled, then the goal kick will still be retaken, but and if a card can be given out. But that's like any situation where the ball's not in play yet. You can be penalised for the offence, but you can't be penalised for the free kick. And that's it for the goal kick. As we said, not the most fascinating of the laws, but still one. I always think this, right? Yes, it's not fascinating, but if this law did not exist, then no one would. Essentially, every time the ball went out of the park, the game of football would cease to exist. So it does have to. It does have to happen.
And there's I suppose there's so in there. There's not the thing about being able to like chip the ball back, is there?
No, so because I think that would be part of like
was that in free kicks?
Yeah, or it was in. It might have just been in the it would have been in the one about indirect free kicks for like because it would be under the bit where they describe a back pass, I suppose.
That was it. Because you used to be. Cause I remember that was when the goal kick law got changed around. You've been able to have your own players within the box, and then there was a little spell where keepers were like chipping it up, and then defenders were heading it back to them, and they were getting the ball in hand, and then that's not allowed now. Yeah, because
I distinctly remember Rangers doing it in when they played, was it the St. Joseph's or whoever the Gibraltar team were in the Europa League, the game that Nathan Patterson got turned inside out by a postman, 35-year-old postman, that they did it and it was kind of at the time permitted, but I think FIFA went back, or UEFA or IFAB went back and clarified that it probably should be outlawed. But that's kind of more in the back pass because that's what the offence is rather than anything to do with the goal kick.
That's right,
But so that brings us to the end of Law 16, the goal kick, and the next episode will be the final law of the game, although we will have a discussion on VR protocol after that. So join us next time for fascinating discussion on the corner kick.